All right, I'm Pops, and I kick off Halloween every year watching three movies. I watch The Thing, An American Werewolf in London, and Halloween. To me, the precursor, the catalyst for us having this incredible slasher genre that so many people actually enjoy. My question is, because I've revisited this film, I enjoyed it, watched several of the other sequels. My question is, what timeline do you enjoy the most? Which ones? Let's parse them apart. How are they even different? Which ones should you watch? What order should you watch them in? Well, let's get into that right now. All right, folks, welcome to the Halloween timeline. That's right. If you're a fan of the Halloween franchise, you know if you watch them in chronological order, your brain will break. If you try to ask someone what order should you watch them in, it'll make no sense. If you run across a noob who didn't even know that a Rob Zombie version of Halloween exists, well, there you go. So let's talk about this a little bit. First off, let's just begin with the OG 1978. This is where it all starts, right? John Carpenter pulls off the lightning in the bottle, $500,000 or so budget. The William Shatner mask gets transformed into Michael Myers. Jamie Lee Curtis goes and buys her own clothes. They hand paint leaves because it's filmed in California, but it's supposed to be October. Palm trees in the background. Yeah, it becomes this crazy slasher thing where people love being scared. They love to have their adrenaline pumping. They love to. The question is, how would you survive against the boogeyman that won't die? This is literally it. The who's your favorite boogeyman kind of stuff has been debated back and forth, but it all starts with Halloween 78. Now, the sequel was very interesting because when Halloween 2 comes out, it basically continues the exact same day. It's actually the same Halloween night. So, Laurie Strode is in the hospital. We find out that Laurie Strode is Michael's brother. So, that timeline in that movie, those kind of fit together as really one big story. And I've always had a problem with us. Like, just can we just leave that as the base to move forward with all these other reboots and I don't know why they needed to change so many elements to tell their story. And that's what we're going to get into because immediately the changes that they make is what causes the divide. And this graph kind of shows that a little bit. But let's go through the first timeline is right here where we go over here to Halloween 2. And you'll see slightly over here to the left, you'll see this anthology timeline. Now, what is the anthology timeline? Well, Pops, Season of the Witch, Halloween 3 is, quote, the anthology film. Now, it's this weird film that doesn't feel like Halloween because it shouldn't have been called Halloween. Like, I actually don't understand how the producers thought this was the way to go. But if we just take it out of the equation and we put it over on itself, we put it over here by itself, then it can just be its own thing. And I think it really works well as its own thing. It's just a meh movie for me, but it's fine. It's okay. Just take it completely out of the loop. So the timeline, the original timeline, if you will, goes Halloween 78, Halloween 2, 1981. So that's what's right here. And then you have to go this direction where Laurie has a daughter. This is the 1988. This is Halloween 4 and then Halloween 5. So this is the timeline that I grew up on, right? This is my timeline, right? Return of Michael Myers, Revenge of Michael Myers, and The Curse of Michael Myers. Those 5 films, right? So we ended up with that timeline 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just don't have 3. You have 1, 2, 4, 5, and then Curse, which is, okay. So that was pretty much how Halloween is. I have to be honest. I really just don't enjoy all these sequel films. I just find them pretty bland. Uh, I don't know. It's fine. I mean, as I said, it's called the Thorn timeline. It's it's okay. I watched the first 2. I don't really rewatch these. I've tried to kind of watch a little bit of them, and I got to be honest, I usually just kind of lose interest. They just I don't know. It's just something that's just not that engaging about it. Especially once we get into the daughter takes center stage. And, yeah, all right, that's my kind of thing. Now, okay, let's go back to our graph here in the middle. So the graph here changes. We go from Halloween 1, Halloween 2. Again, they're still siblings. Michael, we find out in Halloween 2, they're siblings, right? And then here, if you remember, H2O. Now, what happened in H2O was it's not a daughter, it was the son, and they're away at school. If you remember, this is the one that's got LL Cool J in it, right? So this has got Kevin Williamson's fingerprints on the script. It came out significantly later on the 20th anniversary, but Laurie Strode has kind of like changed her name and identity. She's running this private school out in the middle of nowhere. And for the 20th anniversary, Michael's going to come and make his way, right? He's going to find a way there and get these kids. I have to be honest, I really do enjoy and still do enjoy watching H2O. Now, the problem with H2O is they end up with this incredible climactic ending where Laurie is face to face with a trapped Michael Myers. He's in this ambulance. There's an attack sequence. The ambulance crashes upside down. She actually pulls out an axe and takes care of that. The problem is, so now what do? How do you come back? Dude doesn't have a head, which, by the way, Soap Dish is another movie that a character comes back to life and not having a head. Long story there. But I hated that Resurrection comes up with this silly swapping body thing that you don't see. Oh, terrible. Talk about just smoking pot or doing some cocaine to come up with an idea on how to bring a character back kind of thing. I can't stand Resurrection. So for me, I actually will say I don't have a problem watching 1 and 2 and H2O. I actually am fine with that. That is a fair trilogy for me. I have no problem going that route. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't care for Resurrection. Actually, I think Resurrection, I can't get past the contrived concept with Laurie, and then I just can't. I can't do it. I just have a hard time. So all of these 4, 5, and Curse, and then of course H2O. That's where that stands. Okay. Then we're going to go over here and go, well, after a while, the studio's like, we got to make some more money. So what does the studio do? The studio goes, all right, well, let's bring in something completely different. Let's try something different. And that's when we get the 2 Rob Zombie films, right? 2007, 2009. Rob Zombie kind of does that, House of a Thousand Corpses sort of feel, bringing that sort of hillbilly type filmmaking, completely different. I don't want to say texture of a film, but that's a weird way of describing it, I guess. I think Malcolm McDowell was pretty good, but these are like, we're remaking what's great. Like I to this day don't understand why we didn't just tell Rob Zombie to make a sequel to Halloween 2. Like the boogeyman didn't die, figure it out from there. Like I'm totally fine with him going back and Laurie's not there or something. It just seems like we could have just told the stories and we could have figured it out. Instead, we recast Laurie Strode, we recast Pleasance, we tell the story, and then we end up just wasting so much of my time on like Michael and the sympathetic villain type stuff. And this is that type of stuff. And I just hate all of that, man. I can't stand that stuff. So I had watched these, I think 2 years ago. I'd finally gotten through them. And I have to be honest, I had started and stopped many times during those films. I just can't stand them. They're not my thing. I don't want this backstory. The boogeyman thing becomes less of the boogeyman. Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand why you're going to try to ground him and give him this, like, no, just don't. No, the mystery and the what. Yeah, we're good. So that's my take on those two. They also kind of get put on the shelf and don't really care about rewatching this. And actually, to be honest, I don't think I could. You could convince me to really rewatch those. Like, there's one thing to be said where you're like, all right, well, pops, we're going to just kind of do a whole thing on the original timeline. 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, which is Curse. Like, okay, maybe I'll watch 4, 5, and 6 for that. Or you know what, I don't know. I guess it's the Resurrection again. The zombie stuff is so bad. I don't know that I could get through it to do it. So, and that brings us to the new one. Now, the new timeline, Blumhouse gets involved. They're going to reboot it again, and it's a sequel to 2, but not really. And this is where they want their cake and eat it too. So really, to be honest, in this graph, they almost like they should be like dotted lines here with Halloween 1 and 2, because they kind of have breadcrumbs that overlap with Halloween 1 and 2 in the reboot, which is 2018. Because the biggest divide is that they say there's one little line early on in the new Halloween about, I thought they were brother and sister or something. Oh, that's just a rumor. Why did they do that? And when we remove the sibling thing, you start to wonder, why does Michael have an obsession with her then? Why is he coming back? Like, we're just going back to the house, but okay, why? Like, why? It completely was a huge mistake in their footing and something they didn't need to do. The timeline could have easily have been 1, 2, the new Halloween. And I got to be honest, I don't know. We could just call it something else, just 1 and 2, and then put, new Halloween, call it Michael Myers. I don't know what you want to call it. Just, it would have just been so. And again, throw your stones at me. I'm going to take some hate for this. I don't mind watching, and I rewatched it. I still enjoy the 2018 movie. Now, then it starts to unravel. Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. It starts in Halloween Kills because that's when we start to get into just complete sidetrack stuff with characters and the lore and the metaphors and all of that kind of stuff. And then by the time you get to Ends, I just don't care. So I can get through most of Kills, and it's kind of like one of those things where what I end up having to do is I'll have it on and I'm watching most of the movie, but there are sequences I know don't really matter, or they're just the sidetrack nonsense, and I kind of drift away where I'm kind of halfway paying attention, and then it just ends and I'm okay, right? That's kind of how I feel about Halloween Kills. Halloween Ends, I have no desire to sit through that garbage again. It was talk about the train just jumping off the tracks, and you feel like any of the goodwill. And actually, I should back up because Halloween Kills kind of does it first. They kind of kill the goodwill that I had from the reboot. Like, all right, so I'm going to let you go on this sibling thing and a few other little creative liberties, but then you guys want your cake and eat it too with all the other victims in town, how they all come together, and then by the time you get to the end, quite literally, Halloween ends. Yeah. So all right. So for me, that's my general overview of the franchise. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense for those of you who didn't even know it existed. For me, I watch Halloween 1 about every other year. I watch Halloween 2, and if I watch Halloween 2, I usually will watch H2O. Then it's been about every year to every well, sorry, it's been about every other year or every 3 years I'll watch Halloween 2018 in the week. So 1, 2, H2O, maybe Halloween 2018. And I started to watch Halloween Kills. It was like in the background, and I realized I only watched maybe 45 minutes of the movie total. I just kind of fast forward and jumped around a little bit. So that's kind of where I'm at on my Halloween love. Even though every year I watch Halloween 78. Halloween 2 is probably about every year, every other year, or every third year. And then, like I said, it kind of goes into the other two. So that's kind of where I'm at on Halloween. Love you guys' thoughts. What do you feel about this timeline thing? It's such a weird thing that Michael Myers multiverse kind of exists, right? And they didn't even need to do this. This is why it's so frustrating as a fan to see something that I've grown up with my whole life and turned into just dog crap because they're fans, but like Rob Zombie being a fan is totally cool, and I get it. I see his work there, but it's like I would, dude. We are not rebooting 1 and 2. Like if you want to just add on and grow what happens next, that is totally fine. And if you don't want Laurie Strode in the movie, that is totally cool too. Have her in a insane asylum, have references to her, whatever. She just disappeared one day. We don't know what happened to her because she's in witness protection. Whatever, fine. But dude, you all this time wasted on backstory and no, I don't care about any of that crap. And the fact that the people that did Blumhouse and went all in on these metaphors and all that violent, all that. Oh, dude, stop! Just stop already. It's the boogeyman that you can't kill. Just stop. Keep going. Just, what do you guys think? All right, pops. Take care, everybody.